Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike DeLuro again with a follow-up video explaining a few more troubleshooting tips and just some basics around the statistics here. One thing I want to briefly mention and go over is that we don't yet have all of our varsity teams with submitted rosters. Kesha Hall, Edmond North, and Union still we do not have rosters. This will create an issue when it comes to live statting games, and I'll quickly go over an example of this. Say we have a game coming up March 5th between Kesha and Cap City. If we go to that scoring interface, we're going to notice that Cap City has their roster right here ready to go to activate players. Now in this example, of course, Kesha does not. We're going to have to add a minimum of 2 players, one field player and one goalie. This gives us an example of the types of players we can add. Obviously, active player would be adding a full-time player to the team's roster. Spare player was basically just a part-time player. Say it's maybe a flex player that's adding up or coming into the game, or then a game spare, which is basically someone without a name to the roster. And usually that's what I do. We did that last week between Durant and Broken Arrow, where there was not we did not have Broken Arrow, was not yet in the system. You'll go to game spare, you'll select a number. Usually I'll just select number 1 and I'll hit add, and that would add that spare player to the game. We'll have to add another, we'll just say number 2, and that'll be their goalie. And then once we actually add them in, right, we'll go ahead and just, for the sake of the example, go ahead and activate the full team. We'll select Bryce as the goalie, and then we'll continue to score game. Without doing that roster portion, you will not be able to get farther than that. So that is your first kind of hurdle, so to speak. So we definitely do need for all the teams and programs to please submit those rosters. I'm going to close out of this and also kind of mention that on the junior varsity side, we don't yet have everybody listed out. I know we've got a few, Bishop Kelly, that has provided their full roster. Now we listed them all on the varsity side, so I'll have to get with them and kind of divvy out those players. But there are quite a few others that we just don't have rosters yet, so obviously we're not going to be able to stat out and do anything without having those players in. I would also highly recommend that you please visit with me on adding those players. It's just going to make it a whole lot easier. I don't want to give too much out there for you guys to mess with. So the easiest way to go about it is just shoot me an email and be like, hey Mike, here's our roster, and then I'll just go ahead and take care of it. That way we just streamline the process. Only other advice I will give, if we kind of can go back into this scoring interface and we go ahead and this is that same game, I'll go ahead and add another player just for the sake of it. I did want to kind of mention, as we get into the scoring of the game and into the scoring interface, if you are using a mobile device, you're going to have to make sure that the orientation of your phone is set to either horizontal or vertical, and you're not going to want to deviate going or switching that format, because that will cut off some of these buttons here when it comes time to actually scoring it. I would also highly recommend using a larger screen, such as a tablet or preferably a laptop where you have a mouse to be able to select and do things, and obviously use the keyboard. If in the example you got to change the clock to whatever, say it was 9:57, it's just a whole lot easier with the laptop. You can do it with your phone, you can do it with your tablet. It's not. It's just going to make it a little bit more cumbersome. Beyond that, I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that the rosters portion is critical for us to be able to utilizing this system. So again, if you have any questions, please give me a phone call. My direct phone number here, cell phone is 580-380-7664. Mike DeLuro again, Heartland Lacrosse. I appreciate everyone's support, and hey, best of luck to everybody out there. Hope you all have a great season. Thank you.